So good afternoon. I'm Chris Cooney, President of the Metro South Chamber of Commerce. It's my pleasure to welcome you here to the first in-person fall season, Good Day Metro South. It's good to see everyone. With the pandemic subsiding, I had a chance this past weekend to visit the U.S. Chamber of Commerce down in Washington, D.C. And while there, I visited two great museums. That you may find interesting if you ever get a chance to get to D.C. The first was the newer, just opened African American History Museum, which is just off the mall next to the Washington Monument. And it really is a tremendous museum from the outside. When you get inside, it's really light and inviting and has some really intriguing and interesting displays inside. I would suggest if you go, that you stay for lunch, because the food was the best food that I have ever had at a Washington museum. The second museum I visited was the Resnick, which is, let's grab my notes here. It's the Smithsonian Renwick Fine Craft Museum, which reminds me of our very own Fine Craft Museum here in Brockton, right? The Fuller Craft Museum. And while at the Fenwick, I spotted a piece by a world-renowned fine craft artist, and I quickly discovered on the tag that she hailed from Brockton, Massachusetts. She was born here in 1931 and is very well known. Her name is Marilyn Pappas, and she is well known also to our Fuller Craft Museum Executive Director. And our new Executive Director is with us today, Erin McGough. Give us a wave, Erin. I heard Erin speak yesterday here in the same room for the Fuller Craft Museum, for the Rotary Club, representing the Fuller Craft Museum, and she was telling us a little bit about what's going on at the museum. And we got into a conversation at the end and about Marilyn Pappas, and she agreed to help us bring Marilyn here. Marilyn is 91 years old and still recognizes her roots here in the city of Brockton. So we'd like to bring her back here for recognition next year as part of the Athena Awards program. So we're going to work together with the Fuller to try to get her here. So just want to kind of bring that to your attention. And I've been asked to cover a lot of material here, so as you may know, the Chamber holds programs like this one today regularly. It is a terrific opportunity to come together, reconnect with others, and to learn from interesting leaders in a variety of fields. We have a very exciting lineup today for you. It includes an interview with Brenda Perez, the new Chief of Police from the City of Brockton. We also are very pleased to have with us today Rob May, the Brockton City Planner, Dr. Patricia Jackson, the Interim Executive Director of the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, and Jay Patakis from Mass Development, who will be participating in a business panel later on. I would now like to acknowledge several tables of our friends from the community-based organizations who have joined us here today. Please join me in a round of applause once I finish announcing them. The Cape Verdean Association of Brockton is represented here today, as well as the NAACP. The Various Town Officials Table, the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, and the Rotary Club of Brockton are all here. These organizations are strategic partners, and as a region we are stronger because they are here and operating for the good in our community. We have a very full program, so please enjoy your lunch as we continue on with the agenda. At this time, I would like to remind you that there are green question and answer sheets on each of your tables. If you have a question for one of our panelists, please write it on and hold it up, and we'll grab it and bring it up. And if there's time, we'll ask those questions at the end of the panel. It's now my pleasure to introduce our MC for today. Please join me in welcoming Chair-elect of the Board and President of Barber Corporation, which has operated, incidentally, in the city of Brockton for over 130 years, making shoe welting, and now a whole lot more in terms of boat extrusions and plastic extrusions. So please join me in welcoming Rich Hines, CEO of Barber Corporation.
Thank you, Chris. Wonderful to see such a nice turnout on the very first full day of fall, and it certainly felt like it this morning, for sure. I'd like to start by welcoming you here to Thorny on this fine day. Let's have a round of applause for Sharon Guthrie and the Thorny Leaf staff for this wonderful meal. And I also want to thank our chamber ambassadors who have helped to greet you today. Brenda Cairns, Old Colony Elder Services. Joanne Schneider, Eastern Bank. Mary Jane Aneen, Combined Insurance of America. Richard Hook, SCU Credit Union. Felicia Saplutova, Cape Verdean Association of Brockton. Finally, I'd like to thank our elected, selected, and state officials in attendance today. Plymouth County District Attorney Timothy Cruz, Senator Mike Brady, City of Brockton Mayor Robert Sullivan, Shirley Asak, Brockton City Councilor, Ward 7, Jeff Thompson, Brockton City Councilor, Ward 5, Timothy Sullivan, Brockton School Committee, Ward 7, Kathy Ellers, Brockton School Committee, Ward 1. Today's Good Day Metro South program is being sponsored by Rockland Trust. Founded over 150 years ago by local business owners, Rockland Trust has a long heritage of innovation and customer focus. Rockland Trust was recently recognized by the Small Business Administration as the #1 lender to minority entrepreneurs in Massachusetts. In addition, the bank has received an outstanding CRA rating in its most recent evaluation, and that CRA is Community Reinvestment Act. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's interviewer, Attorney Masa Kambabe of Kambabe Immigration Law. Masa?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. It's a pleasure to meet you all. So I'm going to introduce our new chief, Brenda Perez. She is the first woman to lead the city's police force. She was born and raised in Brockton. Sorry about that. Born and raised in Brockton, Chief Perez worked as a patrol officer for roughly 16 years until she was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2016 as the only second female sergeant in the history of the department. Before joining the police department, Perez was in the U.S. Army Reserves, serving 24 years in the military, reaching the rank of Master Sergeant. In addition to serving over 2 decades as a Brockton police officer and 24 years in the Army Reserves, Chief Perez holds a master's degree in criminal justice from our own local Curry College. Please welcome Brenda Perez to be interviewed. So welcome, Chief Perez. As Brockton's first female chief police officer, how does it feel to make history?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm honored, and I'd like to thank the mayor and the hiring committee for giving me the opportunity to lead the men and women of the Brockton Police Department. The significance is not lost on me of being a woman and being a minority. And so many people have asked me, why did you want the job? And to me, the easy answer, right, is, well, why not me? But it actually has a 3-part answer. First, I believe in the city, in its fighting spirit, in its residents. Second, I believe in the men and women of the Brockton Police Department and the job that they do every day. And third, I believe that together with collaborating with our community members and our officers, that we can make a difference. Thank you.
So what are some of the initiatives that the department is working on, and what are some of the challenges that it faces?
So So we believe that the police department is a natural link between its residents and all the many resources that the city has to offer. And so some of the initiatives to that end, we've taken steps to foster those connections. We have the Brockton Link Up project, which partners a recovery coach with an officer to go out and interact with people and talk to people that are suffering from substance use disorder. How can we help you? What resources do you need? And second, we also have Project Lifesaver for those that have family members that have people that suffer from autism or Alzheimer's. It gives them peace of mind that there is some way that we'll be able to help. We also have the community crisis intervention team, where we have a licensed clinician that goes out with our offices and speaks to people, interact and talk to people that have presented themselves as having mental and behavioral health issues, and how can we help them there, and how can a licensed clinician help them there. And we also have our car seat initiative, where we want to protect our most youngest residents in the city, and so we're very grateful for the partnership that we've had with Copeland Toyota, with Buckle Up for Life, and with the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. When it comes to challenges, like many different departments across the state and the country, recruiting has been an issue. And what we're doing here in Brockton, and what we've done here in Brockton, is last year the department and the mayor's office started the cadet program and the junior cadet program. So currently we have 6 full-time working cadets who've learned so many different skills, soft skills and actually tangible skills, right? Soft skills in customer service, in researching, and also tangible skills in 911 certification and CPR training and first aid. And so they've been great. And we're hoping that that fosters and helps us in our recruiting efforts.
Well, I can say that as a mother of a child with autism who's actually going to be moving into a group home in Brockton, and from speaking to other parents, this new development in police departments to try to make sure that there is a proactive approach to making sure that there isn't some sort of mistake when it comes to people with special needs, having problems with the police department. Thank you. Everyone is very excited about that initiative. Okay, so now Brockton is going to have a new public safety building. What is the impact that will have on the police department?
I think I can safely say and speak for all our officers, we're extremely excited. It's a game changer. It's going to allow the police department the additional physical space. It's going to allow the police department to improve its daily operations, right, from day to day. One example of that would be we currently don't have a community meeting space, right? Well, this public safety building is going to have that. We'll have space for victims to speak to officers privately. And at the end of the day, we hope to foster just that collaboration and community feel where the community can come and sit down and talk to us, and we can strengthen those partnerships with the community and our local and our state partners.
Thank you, Chief. I can say that speaking with a lot of young people from Brockton, everyone is very excited about your dynamic leadership and the perspective that you will bring, and so thank you. We appreciate that. I have a pen here. I might have signed on it. Here it is. A pen as a gratitude of our appreciation for coming here and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Right, as I had already mentioned, today's program is being sponsored by Rockland Trust, which was founded 115 years ago by local business owners. Long has had a heritage of innovation and customer focus. Recently recognized by SBA as the #1 lender to minority organizations. Also received an outstanding CRA rating. We're now going to introduce Grant. Grant, would you come up, and you're going to be... Yes. Grant Nickerson.
Okay, so Grant Nickerson from Rockland Trust. How are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, so there are some people who may not be familiar with Rockland Trust. I think there will be quite a few of them. But please tell us a little bit about the organization.
Okay, thank you. As we all just heard, we've been around since for 115 years. We've deep roots in the Metro South region, established in Rockland. Our commercial headquarters are also in Brockton here. We've grown over the years to over $20 billion in assets, 120 branches, 20 commercial lending centers, 11 investment management centers, 8 mortgage centers all across Mass and Rhode Island. And it's really all based on the concept of relationships. Of course, this growth, there's been acquisitions over the years, several of them, including East Boston Savings Bank most recently. That's the biggest one so far, but none of it would really be sustainable without this focus on relationships with our customers and our colleagues and our communities.
So we hear a lot in the news today about, what's the economic climate? We hear about mortgage rates and inflation and job losses and not enough workers. So what's the bank's perspective on today's economic climate?
Like you said, we keep hearing inflation, rising interest rates, supply chain issues, war in Ukraine. There's all kinds of headwinds. At the same time, there's unemployment is very low. Household cash levels remain strong. Gas prices are sort of starting to moderate, kind of. So it's really not all gloom and doom. Plus, sometimes there's opportunity in disruption as well. We're still lending, actively lending. We're seeking out new relationships, and nobody knows what's going to happen. But this sort of comes back to our relationship banking focus, where it's really our ultimate goal is to understand our customers, their businesses, their markets, their industries, what's going on, and that helps us make appropriate lending decisions. And then we can make solid recommendations for banking services, whether it's loans or other type of cash management products. But it's all got to make sense for the customer and for their individual situation. So we're like I said, we're actively lending. We're seeking out new relationships, even though there may be some uneven parts of the economic cycle coming up. But our credit quality is strong, and if you do sit down with a lender from Rockland Trust, just don't be alarmed if you get more questions than you're used to. We're not trying to criticize or interrogate you. We're trying to understand you, and that really puts us in a position to use our resources to provide you with the tools you need to enjoy continued success.
Sounds like a good equation for teamwork.
Yeah.
So we're going to be hearing a little bit later about some of the amazing developments happening in Brockton, including what we just heard with Chief Perez, is there's a new public safety building and lots changing in downtown Brockton for the better. But there might be some business owners who are a little apprehensive. And how can they prepare to make sure that they will face success?
Well, as always, there are a few things. It starts with having and maintaining accurate and current financial statements. You really have to be able to know exactly where you're at financially between yourself, your bookkeeper, your accountant, etc. Or you have to at least be able to find out relatively quickly without too much trouble. So once you have the accurate financials, current financials, you can then use them to identify changes in cash flow, different trends such as that, like, have your costs increased? Probably. Which ones? By how much? How long is your cash cycle? Do you have a cash flow lag? If you had additional liquidity, could you get better pricing from your suppliers? Or would you end up, it would cost you money because you're carrying extra inventory? These are sort of the type of questions that there's insights you can gain when you have that information at your fingertips. And lastly, most important, you have to establish and maintain consistent level of communication with your trusted advisors, meaning your CPA, even your insurance provider, your attorney, your bankers. These professionals have a lot of perspective. They've seen different scenarios play out for better and for worse, and they can point things out to you to consider, applicable to your own situation. So when you have that, when you have the information of your business's situation, you have the input of your trusted advisors, it really gives you the tools to weather these type of uncertain economic times.
Well, thank you, Grant. Those are words lawyers love to hear, lots of paperwork. So thank you very much for coming today and for Rockland Trust's support of this event. And as a token of our appreciation, I have a pen for you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcia, Grant, Chief Perez. At this time, I'd like to introduce our business panel for this afternoon. This panel will also be moderated by Marcia Kamabe. First on the panel, I'd like to introduce Interim Executive Director of the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, Dr. Patricia Jackson. Thrust into the field of housing years ago, Dr. Patricia Jackson explains a passion for advocacy and social justice as the motivation that guides her efforts. I'm not coming in too loud enough. Yeah. Dr. Jackson's active advocate for advancement of adequate and equitable education while championing the efforts to preclude discrimination within the educational system that negatively affects the BIPOC community. She is currently the Interim Executive Director for the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, where she pursues fair, equal, and equitable development within the city of Brockton. In addition, Dr. Jackson serves as a member of the Massachusetts Baby Bonds Task Force, aimed at developing publicly funded at-birth trust funds that will be accessible to children when they become adults, that can be used for asset-enhancing activities, including paying for higher education. Dr. Jackson holds a bachelor degree in public administration, specializing in urban and regional planning from Park University, a master's degree from Northeastern University, and a Doctor of Law and Policy from Northeastern University as well. Next on the panel, I'm going to bring them all up at the same time. Next on the panel, I'd like to introduce Brockton City Planner Rob May. Rob joined the city in Rob joined the city in 2014 as Director of Planning and Economic Development. He holds a Master's of Business Administration from Indiana University and has worked in many cities, including Chicago, Illinois, and Somerville, Mass. His office provides technical assistance and support to the Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, Conservation Commission, and Historical Preservation Commission. He sees the role of his office as to enhance the quality of life, to expand job opportunities, to enrich open and natural spaces, to protect historic resources, and to build a vibrant and diverse economy, and to promote professional, unbiased planning for current and future residents of Brockton. Finally, I'd like to introduce to the panel Jay Patakos, Vice President, Business Development at Mass Development. Jay was added to Mass Development ranks in November of 2017, where he helps businesses develop and grow through financing and consulting. Prior to that, he had co-owned an English muffin business, which also entailed the usual things business people have to do, such as securing financing and finding shelf space in supermarkets and much, much more. Later, he became a business reporter for a number of daily newspapers, as well as the executive director for the Sandwich Chamber of Commerce, where he helped to raise funds and develop the town's first standalone visitor center. Please welcome Jay Patakos. And Marcia, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So we have an amazing powerhouse here of folks from the Brockton area, and there's a lot to cover, but I do want to preface it by saying that Brockton has the potential of being a dynamic economic force. We have a young, hardworking population ready to get engaged and to start new businesses and be entrepreneurial, but we need a team behind them to get them going. So let's start with you, Dr. Jackson. There's a lot been happening in Brockton, as we've talked about. Can you share with us a little bit about your new role with the BRA and some of the staff additions?
Okay. So I wanted to take the time to say thank you for having me here. Rather than going over, I was going to read some of the stuff in my bio, but it's already been read. So as many know, I took over for Robert Jenkins, who had been with the BRA for almost 15 years. And the way that he told me he was leaving, he said, "I'm passing you the baton. The baton is the BRA." I said, "What do you want me to do with it?" And he said, "Run." I said, "Run where?" He said, "That's the part you have to figure out." But he said, "Assemble you a team that can help you carry this baton in the event that your legs get too tired." So what I wanted to do is take the time to recognize and point out the team that we've begun assembling here at the BRA. I'm bad at titles and names, so I wrote them down. So we have Cindy, who is the Director of Programs and Operations. We have Zayas, who's the Development Director. We have Daniela, who's our Housing Program Manager. We have Chara, who is our CDBG Program Manager. Benvenda, who's our Programs and Assets Manager. We have Claudio, who's our Rehab Specialist. And not here today are John, who's the Finance Manager, Kadi, who's the Business Manager, Kelly, who's our business coordinator, and Alessandro, who's our rehab coordinator. This team that we've begun assembling here at the BRA, they have the legs to help carry the baton, not to mention that they're younger than me, in the event that my legs get too tired. So I do want to take the time to recognize Robert was a wonderful leader. Definitely learned a lot from him, and what I learned from him is to invest in those who are in the organization as well, just as much as you invest in the projects that you have going on outside of the organization. So some of the projects that we are focusing on, I won't name things specifically, but we're trying to bring more attention to the BRA, like what we do. A lot of people think of the BRA as just commercial and residential development, but we're much more than that. So we're trying to make sure that our services are more widespread throughout the community. We're trying to bring in more diverse group of developers, trying to make sure developers understand the projects that we have going on here. Also with our lead and our rehab programs, making sure residents understand the access to this program so that they can get the repairs on their homes that they need. But we're trying to be more community-based and trying to widen our catch. Where we're running with this baton, I don't really know yet, but we will figure it out when we get there. So, thank you.
Thank you. Spoken like a true advocate for the town of Brockton. So what can you share about some of the various construction projects underway in Brockton and any of the new initiatives that might be coming up?
Okay. So if you've been in downtown Brockton here lately, everyone sees the cranes that are continuously going up, especially on Montello Street. We get complaints about them, but I'm telling you, good stuff is coming, I promise. So everyone sees the work that's being done at 93 Center Street, the work that's being done at 28 Petronelli on Petronelli Way, the old boxing gym, the projects that's taking place 1931 Main Street, right off of Main Street. We have a lot of good projects coming on board. Everyone has seen the Brockton Beer and the 121 Main Street apartments. We're working towards, I work with Rob May, and going to be working towards transforming that entire Frederick Douglass Avenue so that when the public safety campus does come at the top of the hill, it's going to be pretty spectacular.
I'm looking forward to it. You have a dynamic team here behind you, so we wish you all the best. Thank you, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you.
So next we're going to hear from Jay Patakos. Of Mass Development. Jay, you have been very active with the Chamber and economic development throughout your career. So can you share with us a bit about what you're seeing in terms of support in the Brockton area through your role with Mass Development?
Sure. So Mass Development, the South region has 74 municipalities that we take care of, 6 gateway cities, Taunton, New Bedford, Brockton. There is no other city more involved with us than Brockton, by far. And I'm not just saying that because they're in the room, trust me. But they reach out when they need help, when they need grants, when they've got development going on. We're involved in so many different developments that have gone across the city. And it's great partners between Patricia and Rob to get a lot of this development out. A lot of housing. You guys are so lucky to have 3 commuter rail spots. So places are coming to Brockton to develop their market rate housing. Every city wants market rate housing. And I'm dealing with cities that I'm not going to name that are years and years behind Brockton, that are now trying to catch up. Oh, we're getting the rail. Let's build some market rate housing. And it should have happened years ago. Brockton had the forethought to think that this is going to be a popular place to build apartments, and they were proactive in this regard. So we've done a number of apartment projects. 17 Pleasant Street, Joffrey Anatoli was the first HDIP award in the state in Brockton, 2018. That's impressive. And everybody else followed suit. So there's a lot of different development that we've been dealing with, a lot of apartment projects, but I'm sure we'll get into later nonprofits and manufacturing companies that we've also financed.
Do you have any slides that you wanted to present?
I do. I had 4.
Okay.
I don't know if...
Can we have those up now, by any chance?
Okay, this is our most recent one. Everybody knows about it, Brockton Beer Company. This was a change of pace for Mass Development. We usually do not finance new businesses. Usually they got to have a couple of years of projections in order for us to do it. We took a chance. It was in our former TDI district. I know Rob May and others were pushing for it, so we financed this, and it's become one of our crowning achievements. And when we did this and the CEO came down, he complained to me that I'm not getting enough breweries. How many bosses would do that? Go get more beer places. I'm like, sweet, I will. So this is one of the great ones that we've done recently. I'm hoping, okay. Everybody knows about this one, 28 Petronelli Way. I was lucky to get in while they still had the boxing ring set up. So that picture was for me on the top right. That's what it looked like when we first went into 28 Petronelli Way. It was so cool. I'm a history buff. The best part of my job is going into these old buildings and just seeing. I went to the Orpheum Theater in New Bedford and found a ticket from 1955. It's pretty awesome, but this had a whole gym set up. I took dozens and dozens of pictures. We financed this, 2 different loans, construction loan and a bridge loan, to bring the 18 apartments to that site, which is going to be so beautiful. I know now it's like a totally different place. It looks beautiful inside. New Heights Charter School, this is our newest charter school. We finance probably 95 to 97% of the charter schools across the state. This was our newest one in Brockton, where they purchased a new building, and we financed with a tax-exempt bond and also with a charter school loan guarantee. This is probably, besides the apartments, where we're the most busiest is in nonprofit financing. So we financed Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. It was one of the many examples that we've had. It was a $5.3 million tax-exempt bond to help them purchase a new facility and refinance some debt. So that 3 different things that I've showed you: the apartment projects that we finance, manufacturing companies like Brockton Beer, and then nonprofits.
Very exciting. Excuse me. And thank you, Jay. So now on to the senior advisor on the topic of economic development in Brockton, City Planner Rob May. It's good to see you again. So the city is bustling with housing, mixed-use development, construction. Could you share with us a little bit about what we're seeing and what we can anticipate that will be most important for businesses, for the business community to be aware of moving forward?
I told you I had tough questions.
Good questions. Yeah. I think what you're seeing right now is the results of a partnership that expands beyond the three of us, includes our elected officials and city council and the mayor and the Beacon Hill delegation. And we've been able to bring those forces to bear on Brockton to create an environment that is welcoming to investment, is welcoming to new residents to our community and to new business development. And we have the tools in place and the partnerships in place to really continue the momentum that we've seen over the last 8 years. And I'm going to have to put on my glasses for this. We've created over 480 residential units downtown, with another 400 or so in the queue. We have planned for and either created or rehabilitated and planned up to 400,000 square feet of commercial space downtown. And it's not just about downtown, it's also about our other neighborhoods. And so we see development going on in Campello. We're creating a new development plan there. We're continuing with BRA and mass development and creating urban renewal districts and master planning districts around Trout Brooks. The old CSX rail yard, it's a 65-acre development. It's going to be the first master planned business park in the city's history. Most other development has happened kind of random and haphazard. And then we've also worked on a new plan for an area that we call Lovett Brook, which is around the Good Samaritan Medical Center. And we hope to redevelop some of that underutilized property there as a life science service area and biomanufacturing. So we're really excited about those activities.
Thank you. How are we doing on time? We can ask a few of the questions. So I don't know if anyone had any questions that they passed up, or here they are. Okay, so.
Can we ask questions? I want to ask Pat. Why didn't we get comfy chairs?
Okay, here's a really good one. Is the BRA expecting more resources from the federal government in the years ahead? And what is the focus of new resources to cities like Brockton?
Oh, that's for me. I'm assuming that's for me. Yeah, okay, so that's for me. So it would be wonderful to say that we are expecting more resources, but the truth of the matter is that we are going after more funding sources. Cindy and her team do wonderful with applying for different grants for the lead program and for the rehab program. Our CDBG and our home allocations typically are level funded. But it would be nice if there are new grants coming available. We're always going after them. I know Kadi and her team for the business assistance program are also going after different grants where they can make small loans or small grants to small businesses within the city. So hopefully, yes. What do we plan on doing? Like I said before, we're trying to bring more exposure to the BRA. We're trying to increase the amount of funding that we are providing to our current programs that we have going within the BRA, understanding that these guidelines were written pre-COVID, so with the construction costs skyrocketing in the way that they are, $30,000 back in 2019 doesn't look like $30,000 in 2022. So we're trying to add more funding to the different programs that we have so that we can be more helpful and more instrumental in some of these projects that are taking place.
Very nice. So what kinds of resources are we going to be allocating, is your team and the other teams going to be allocating to trying to bring more people to the table who haven't historically been there? You know, we hear a lot about DEI initiatives. We see young people that who've historically not gone into like the sciences and technologies, yearning for that. And I mean, look at your team. They look incredible and represent our community. How can we get more people like that involved in businesses throughout this region?
So as you mentioned,
Start of the show.
We like it.
as you mentioned, our team is very diverse. They speak languages that I didn't even know existed, which is wonderful, especially when it talks about bringing more people to the table. So it's a more targeted and more focused approach with regards to the residents who are able to access services, with regards to the construction workers and different contractors that come to the table for some of these development projects. We're very intentional. We're trying to be intentional going forward with our marketing efforts to make sure that our services are accessible to more than just those individuals and companies who have had them in the past. Not saying anything bad, because I know it's probably some in the room. Not saying anything bad about anyone who we've currently been using, but we're trying to make access more equitable across the board.
Looking forward to that. And so last, what are some of the new industries that you're working on attracting to the city, and where would they grow? And I guess a lot of that includes what we just talked about in terms of diversifying who's involved, how are they involved, what are the areas that are going to get involved, and we can get the guys down there to get involved, but I want to hear from you first, Dr. We got you at the table, I'm going to keep you here.
So some of the industries that we are looking at, one of the things, like I said, about the BRA is trying to make sure that people know that we're not all about housing. How do we get more commercial businesses to come in? I'm pretty sure when this microphone gets passed to Rob May, he's going to say something about the life sciences, and I'll save that for his spiel. But just trying to see what is out there that we have not had before. How can we attract more businesses? How can we get more commercial businesses downtown? How do we have more after-hour spots so people have something to do when they get off of work and they're not living here and then going to Boston or another city in order for their entertainment purposes. So we're pretty much, especially like during our annual action plans and all these public meetings that we have here at the BRA, we're looking for input, not just from the residents, but from the business owners, from the elected officials. Tell us the things that we are doing well, tell us some challenges that we're having, and tell us some things that you want to see going forward so that we can try as best we can to implement it. And if we can't, we're passing the BRA baton to you. I'm just letting you know.
I think that the most important thing that we can do, and certainly the easiest thing we can do, is to support the existing businesses that are here in Brockton, rather than trying to chase smokestacks, is what we used to call it in the 80s. It's important to, whether you're making welts and lasts, and from the shoe industry, all the way through the advanced manufacturers that we have here, like Evans Machines and the couple of there's some really advanced manufacturing facilities here. There's a company that makes the IFF radar radio interconnects, which is identify friend or foe. So it's a piece of equipment that sits in tanks and aircraft so that they can keep track of each other electronically and know who the enemy is. And that kind of component is being made here in Brockton is just amazing. There are industries that we want to go after and continue to expand. We are a very strong food manufacturing or food processing location. You see a lot of household items that are manufactured here, and we want to continue that. And the latest is Menina, the tortilla chip manufacturer. I need to find a salsa manufacturer, so if you know of anybody, please let me know. We talk about the life sciences. And when we talk about life sciences, we're not talking about Cambridge and the big laboratories and things like that. What we're talking about are the support services that go along with that. And a new industry that's rising up is biomanufacturing. When you think of these big plants, biomanufacturing, it is small size. They're making individual batches for specific patients. And those kinds of small facilities can use the kind of labor and workforce that we have here, our abundance of water and sewer capacity that really make us advantageous for location here. And of course, our location allows us to attract ancillary or secondary market activities that are moving out of the ports or moving out of other industrial areas, and we try to capture those and to rebrand those here in Brockton.
Jay, did you want to add anything?
Yes, he does. He finances.
Just a couple
I have a question
things.
for you if you didn't want to add anything, don't worry.
Well, a little bit. Just a couple things now. We provide a lot of grants for the municipalities. Both Patricia and Rob have gotten all of them each year, just about. But two things for business communities, and I know there's a ton of lenders grant. I think we talked last year when I was here, and I know there's a number of lenders in here. We've got two grants for businesses that are huge, and they're going to be starting in December. Underutilized properties grant. Patricia got one for 1115 Frederick Douglass Way, which is hopefully going to be a beautiful business someday. These are taking underutilized properties, and there's plenty everywhere, and giving them new life, new public purpose. Think of it as a public purpose. If there's just one business going in there, it's not really of interest for public purpose, but if there's a number of businesses going in there, and they're putting apartments on the top floor or something like that, we have a grant. It's free money for the business as long as they keep it for 5 years. So where I reference the banks, they always talk to developers that are going to be taking over these old buildings. Something to consider. It's going to start in December and probably be due in June, but underutilized properties, the grants have gone from $50,000 to $900,000. And some of them are getting it twice. Pre-development 1 year, construction the next. So keep that in mind. Come and see me afterwards. And we also have a collaborative workspace grant. So they say come January 1st, there's going to be more empty offices than ever before. All these leases are ending. There's a lot of empty space out there, and we need collaborative workspaces. People are sick of working at home. They want to go somewhere and work where the kids aren't running around. These are co-work spaces. So this is something we also provide matching grants for, to either assess if your office area can be a co-work space, or we can provide funding to build out on that.
Oh. In addition to that, and I'll let Pat talk a little bit more about it, so I'm setting her up for this, but the Brockton Redevelopment Authority has created a restaurant infrastructure loan fund that helps finance property owners who are making their spaces available for restaurant development in downtown. And one of those, the first restaurant was the Brockton Beer Company, which of course is the first minority-owned brew pub, you have to add those little things, in Massachusetts, which is an incredible activity. And I think that you also want to plug your facade program, so, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
He's giving you something to talk about. Isn't that nice?
So yes, the kitchen infrastructure loan, it was instrumental in the fit out of Brockton Beer. So it is, I tell businesses, it is an interest-bearing loan, just letting people know. But it goes up to $500,000, and it can very much help a business when they're trying to establish a restaurant in one of these spaces that we have in the city of Brockton. Rob led on about our facade program. So this is another program that we are looking to add more funding to in the future, because when the program was started a couple of years ago, I believe it was like $37,000 to help the facade, which is the outside of the building. This is not an interest-bearing loan, and so we're trying to get the word out about that to local businesses, and our business assistance team led by Kadi, and when Adelsa was with us as well, helped get the word out, and more small businesses were able to access this loan that goes up to $57,500 for small businesses who want to beautify and get some curb appeal to their businesses to attract more customers in. It is.
So if you know someone who's interested in starting a small business, come and talk to Dr. Jackson and her team. If you know a medium to large size business, you can come talk to Rockland Trust. And you have an amazing group of people up here and the team over there that you can talk to, and really there's just so much
brightness in the future of Brockton, and we're really proud of everything that the Chamber's been able to do to help facilitate all of these conversations. So thank you, Chris, for all of your great work. Do we have time for one more question, or no? One more? Okay. So what state or mass development resources do you see as most helpful to the Brockton area businesses looking ahead? Dr. Jackson, we'll start with you again.
Can you repeat the question?
State or mass development resources that you see as most helpful to Brockton area businesses looking ahead?
So I can speak from the perspective of the redevelopment authority. Like Jay mentioned, we did get the underutilized properties funding last year that helped us make some very much needed renovations to 11-15 Frederick Douglass Avenue. In addition to that, a lot when it comes to construction, especially with residential units, a lot of the buildings need environmental remediation. So going after that grant that provides up to, I believe, $250,000 to help remediate some of these environmental issues that they are seeing in these developments is wildly helpful, because those remediations can be almost $1 million, depending on what the site is, or more than that, depending on how large the site is.
It's not me.
That's not
She's
you?
talking about me.
Okay.
She's talking about you.
I have to say that the relationship that we have with the Baker administration, Baker Polito administration, and with our Beacon Hill delegation has been very strong at bringing opportunities to not only Brockton but to gateway cities across the state. And whether it's the site readiness program that we've used a couple of times to create long-term strategies for both commercial and residential redevelopment, the brownfields funding, the business, vacant business assistance program, technical assistance program, where we're working on the possibility of creating a business improvement district downtown, and the TDI program in general, which really helped bring together the partnership that you see here today. The growth that has happened over the last 8 years would be very, very difficult if it was just I or the city or Pat trying to do this on their own. It really took all of us coming together, and from Mayor Belzati through Carpenter through Rodriguez to our current wonderful mayor. We all, Mayor Sullivan, we've all been following through their leadership to bring you all a better Brockton. I'm not giving up on my.
Thank you so much, all three of you. Your leadership is inspiring, and we're looking forward to many great things to come, and we welcome you to your new role there, Dr. Jackson. Thank you. So I'm going to give a token of appreciation to each of you. It's one of these pens. Pass this down, please, to Rob,
Oh, you got it.
to Jay.
Thank you.
Dr. Jackson, I'm taking yours. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you come back and tell us about your advancements.
Thank you so much.
I still want a copy check. Now, what's this? Yes. Just to thank them. Okay. I'd like to thank Lauren Howard, who is here from Senator Timilty's office. She's here as well, and stand up and be recognized. Okay. All right, now for a few, as we wrap up, a few calendar items.
The next chamber event is the 32nd Annual Legislative Reception, which is going to be held at the Donahue Institute at Stonehill College. And that's going to be October 12th from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So mark your calendars accordingly. After that, the New England Real Estate Journal and MSCC Business Summit, October 26th. That's going to be right here at Thorny Leaf from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And finally, our 109th annual meeting is going to be held at the Adult and Teen Challenge Center from 12 to 1:30 on November 16th. So I hope you can all make that as well. So each Good Day Metro South, we randomly select one company to be highlighted on the upcoming action report. And the winner of that is Frank Gilson, MCR, Chiropractic. All right. Second prize, bottle of wine. Carrie Corrales, Randolph Public Schools. Prize number 3, this is a $25 American Express gift card, and the winner is Noreen O'Toole, Platinum Partners. Prize number 4, another $25 American Express gift card, and this is going to Paul Kay, My Brother's Keeper. The 5th and final prize. These are 2 tickets to the Brockton Health Center, Brockton Community Health Center Gala, where Amy Coram is actually going to provide the music. And the winner is John Bobbin, Cambridge Savings Bank. So anyway, I want to wrap by thanking today's ambassador team. Brockton Community Access Channel, Enterprise News, all of our chamber staff members, today's sponsor, Rockland Trust, and finally, thank you to our speakers, Grant Nickerson, Rockland Trust, Brenda Perez, Brockton Police Chief of Police, Rob May, Brockton City Planner, Dr. Patricia Jackson, the BRA, and Jay Patikos, Mass Development, for being here today. There's one last thing. We have a tradition here that the centerpiece goes to the person whose birthday is closest to today. And you say, where's the centerpiece? Well, it's that N95 stack right there. So I'll let you discuss among yourselves who has the closest birthday to today.
Forward or like can we go forward in that? I'm January. I don't want to happen.
So that officially concludes our meeting. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful, we've got one more. Yes, Senator Timilty is here, and would you stand up and thank you, Senator. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Yes. So again, have a great weekend and be safe.